We are going to be discussing Lightlark by Alex Astor today. Um, yeah, this is our May book club pick, and then we'll skip June, and then we will go on to July. And we'll announce at the end, we're going to do a poll here and on our Instagram for the July pick, but we'll let you know what the options are so you can think about it of what you would want it to be. But yeah, let us know you're here. If you read it, leave a red heart. If you haven't read it, just do a smiley face.
There you go.
But yeah, I finished it last night, and then I actually re-listened to the audio all again today. So just so I because I started reading it, and then I had the Mystery and Mayhem readathon, so then I kind of paused, and then I finished it. So I re-listened to everything just to make sure I remembered and caught everything. But you finished it a little bit ago, didn't you, April?
Yeah, I read it and I inhaled it and I finished it the week before last because last week I had Mystery Mayhem readathon and I had a work trip, so I needed to finish it and be done with it, before I left. So, yeah. So I did go back and reread or listen to the last 4 chapters today, but just to refresh how it ended. But yeah. So, yeah, it's been a week and a half.
That's, I was gonna say I wouldn't remember anything.
Right.
I actually was pretty impressed. I remembered a lot, and the stuff that I was just like questioning, it's the recent stuff because sometimes when
Mhm.
you get to the end, you just like fly, and then you're like, wait, let's go back and listen to all that. So I did, and I'm really thankful I did because there were a couple things I did pick up on the second time. Um, Hi, cool gamer. Thanks for joining. Hey, Ivy.
Maybe.
Hi, Cece. Thanks for joining. Thanks for letting us know you're here. Yeah, so we'll probably just get into it. I go to bed so early now that I am already like hitting my like let's get going to bed. But if you haven't read Lightlark yet and you don't want to hear spoilers, now is the time to leave. Read it, listen to it, then come back, come chat with us then about it. Um, and if you're rewatching this, let us know you're here, what you thought of it, everything. Hey, Kira, thanks for joining. Okay, so I want to know right from the get go, because I think this is the first book in a long time where April and I have different thoughts, which is pretty rare. We normally are like pretty close.
Yeah.
But I want to know out of 5 stars, what is everybody's rating of it? Do you want to go first, April?
I'll go first since. So I rated it as a 5-star. I picked up the book, I inhaled it in 3 or 4 days, and I just loved the world. I mean, I'll answer the questions later on too, but I don't know. It was just I just got sucked into it so fast and so well that I just loved the book as a whole. So it was 5-star read for me.
And I really liked it too, but I just felt like I was confused. And typically, that's how I feel in most fantasies. And then as I go along, I feel like I understand things more. But this one, I just kept feeling like I was missing something. Or then there were certain things that would contradict each other, and they were just throwing me off. But I still really liked it. So I'm giving it a 3.5. I could see how like future books could change the thinking, like and me appreciate this one a lot more. But right now, I like a 3 to me is too low and a 4 is too high. So I'm like 3.5. right now. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So, um 3.5 for CC2. Yeah, I like it wasn't quite at like absolutely like 4 stars for me is like I still loved it. It just wasn't
Mhm.
like standout. And but 3 stars is like probably wouldn't read it again maybe in a couple years, but 3.5 I'm like maybe. I don't know. There might be a chance. I mean, I re-listened to it today and I already felt a little bit better about it, but hey, Wendy, thanks for joining. Oh my gosh, you finished Nightbane today? Don't tell us spoilers.
If
This is
I
this
was
is
Go ahead.
this is Lightlark only. Lightlark only, but I'm
Okay.
glad you loved it and you finished Nightbane.
Yes. If I actually went to Barnes& and Noble on my work trip last week, and they only had Lightlark. They did not have Nightbane. And Wendy, if they would have had Nightbane, I probably would have like, hey, there was blue on the cover. I could have used it
You
for
could
the
have.
mystery. But if they would have had it, I probably would have like inhaled that last week. But they didn't, and I just was like, I'll resist. So
Hey Janet, thanks for stopping by. I'm mad at the ending, Team Grimm. Okay. I didn't put that in as a question, but yeah, they definitely set this up as like a potential love triangle, and I am like, I wasn't expecting that at all. Hi Jess, thanks for stopping by. I hope you're having a good Monday. I gave it 4 only because I couldn't put it down after I finally got into it. That's awesome. I love it when people love books. I don't know why. I was reading it pretty good and then I paused for the mystery and mayhem, but it was more cuz I felt like it was slowing down and I'm like I need to just walk away from it for a little bit. I'm not a I'm not a type of person to DNF, and I don't think I would have, but I think I would have rated it a 3 had I not actually paused to go
yeah.
read something else. I'm totally team Grimm. I love him, and RO just seemed kind of bland to me. No spoilers coming from me, I promise. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are like feeling the same thing because I think that's what threw me. I literally texted April. I was like, more Grimm, less RO.
Right. Right. And Oral such just so back and forth. Like those characters I just want to strangle. And like, are you a good guy or are you a bad guy? Pick one. Pick a side. Like
Yeah.
stop jumping back and forth. So yeah, Team Grimm all the way.
Even though I mean, well, we just know he's just super morally gray and gray, well, black, uh, wears black everything.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for paperback version of Nightbane before I read it. Yeah, I have the hardcover of Lightlark, so I'll probably get the hardcover of Nightbane,
I
which
got the paperback, but
I have like these gem earrings. They're pink, but it reminded me of like the crystals that are on Nightbane, so that's why I wore them.
yeah.
Just trying to fit the theme. I bought Nightbane and Lightlark months ago. My niece has me begging to read them. I'm glad you're able to chat with her about them and you were able to read both of them. She totally friend-zoned Aro, so why did she pick him?
Totally.
Yeah. I really didn't understand a lot of it because he had betrayed her too and then was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And it's like, "Well, just let Grimm say he's sorry. Just give him a
Right.
chance."
Yeah.
Grimm was tricked. He wasn't being cruel on purpose, I don't think. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my thoughts too. I was like, "Well, I mean, Aro built this trust, then took it away." And
Right.
then 'cause I literally was like, "He just told everybody that." Like,
Yeah.
oh my
I
gosh. And
screamed.
I did have a feeling like it was like he was doing it for something else, but
Right.
for her to just like flip-flop back. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was hard for me. Um, okay, so we'll get into some of the questions. Describe the aesthetic. Um, and honestly, I think this is like the part that this was my favorite part of it all, and I think why I am curious to know about more and to be more in this world. Um, because I loved the whimsiness, the like nature based, like organic feeling, whimsy. I was all about that.
Mhm.
The like this to me has like amazing like magic, but I don't know. I guess how would you describe it, April?
Like, same thing, kinda like, castles and flowers and greenery and but different, like, I could picture the different realms, like, having different hues to
Mhm.
them, so, like, the orange and the red and the yellow and the blue, and, I mean, I could see all the colors in it, so it was really visually pretty in my mind.
Yeah, I loved how they went into detail about like her costumes, and I liked that the different realms had like some of them were known for their hair color, how they had to wear
Mhm.
different colors. I didn't understand why the wildlings got to wear every color while the other realms could only wear certain colors. I really wasn't quite following through on that. Um but I'm a nature girly, so her
Yeah.
being, like, a wildling and like, having, like, flower petals and, like, snakes on her, like, dagger, and I wore my snake ring too for the snake on her dagger. Um, I love, like, the natural elements and the tree coming up through the castle and the glass and the, like, room of glass and mirrors. I just picture, like, this old, abandoned, like, greenhouse that's, like, painted over almost like do you guys remember Ella Enchanted?
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
where
The
he,
house
like,
that's
proposes and
the
she's
room in
that's the room because it's the room of mirrors, and that's, like, what I'm picturing, and there's, like, thorns and flowers, like, overgrowing. So, to
Yeah,
me, the aesthetics were my thing,
yeah.
which I honestly, I will say from the cover, knowing it now, it makes sense, but at first I'm like, I this isn't a natural go-to for me. Um, I think if there would have been more like the collector edition, the one that has all the flowers and the crown and all of that, I would have instantly picked up this book then. But the heart threw me. It makes so much sense now.
Mhm.
But it didn't that really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but, um, I loved, like, her looking out to the water and them talking about the sun, and, like, the sunsets in the sky, and all of that just sounds amazing, and the fact that it's coming out as a movie, I'm like,
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see that. I think I will enjoy the movie a lot, being able to visually see everything. Um, Going along kinda like with the aesthetic would be like, what realm would you want to be in?
Hmm.
I mean, that could be cursed, uncursed. I mean, some of their curses, man, those were harsh.
Yeah.
But, um, which realm would you wanna be in, April?
Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, I think if we're gonna just go with something obvious, we're gonna go with Nightshade, so I could just be where Grim is. So we'll just say that because I don't like Oro, and I don't like Cleo, and Celeste. is in bad
We
place,
don't
and
like her anymore.
I don't really like Azul either, so I'll just stick with Nightshade. And
Oh,
Wildling is confusing, so no.
see, I think I love, like, wildlings and, like, everything overgrown and taken over
Nature.
and, like, yeah, like, the plants like, living and all of that, and I thought it was amazing, like, even when, Tara was, like, getting taken in by, the world, like, when she was dying because the world was dying, and, like, slowly they were, like, entrapping her, I was like, "Yes." Like, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Um, I was picturing the world of Shannar Chronicles from TV show, except for Starstick reminded me of Sailor Moon.
Oh, funny.
So, I'm not sure of the Chronicles, but, and I only know of, like, Sailor Moon, but yeah, now that you say that, like, Starlings, like, all of that, and, like, yes, I could see that. I could totally see
Totally.
that. Um, I'd say wildling for the plants and nature, but I don't wanna eat hearts. Yeah, I know, and you kind of have to think like, okay, and some of their curses were so wild, like, I mean,
Yep,
only living until you're 25, like, that's nah,
that's
I'd be dead.
terrible, right?
Um, and then, like, sunlings, like, they don't get to see the sun, they burn in the sun, isn't that theirs?
Mhm.
And,
Yep.
yeah, so, it's yeah, you can do it with or without the curses. Because
Right.
the curses are intense, man.
Yeah.
Same wildling, but not the eating heart part. I mean, okay, so this is gonna sound morbid. I could probably handle eating a heart if it wasn't a human heart, like,
Yeah.
not to get, like, super gross, but, like, certain animals I probably would be okay with if I had to survive, but people,
Yeah.
that's that's a little different. See, I already burned in the sun, so I want something different.
That's funny,
Water Master Realm, but I don't like Cleo. Yeah, she
right?
wasn't really likable. Oh yeah, and like they drown every full
Yeah,
moon. Like,
right. Yeah.
and then
It's,
what was uh um Azul? Like what was their curse?
um, I wrote down what he did for his, so let's see. They're, they have lost the ability to fly. Thousands fell to their deaths from the sky. So
Oh.
they just can't
Oh
fly
yeah, he
anymore.
can't fly anymore.
Yeah. We can
I
control
guess
the wind.
that wouldn't be that bad.
Right. Right.
Most people can't fly anyways.
Right.
So,
And if I can control the wind, I can at least like put on a windsuit and glide.
exactly. There's other options.
Falling with
Um,
style.
yeah, exactly. Ew, no hearts. But would you
Right.
eat cicadas, Ivy? I'm
Ugh.
only
Oh,
saying that's an inside joke. That's it. Ivy was sending me stuff about cicadas and people
dude, Ivy,
eating
they're so
them.
bad. Oh no, people are eating them? Oh, it's
Yeah,
terrible. Mm.
yeah.
No, they're not here in Tennessee, in my part of Tennessee, but they were in St. Louis when I where I was last week. They were like they'll dive bomb you. I mean, like I got hit in the forehead. Like they're just they attack and their feet are like suction cups and they stick to you
Oh.
and then you flick them off and they scream at you and oh my gosh. I never want to go back.
I was like, "It sounds like you have some,
That was funny.
triggers with that."
Oh, I was tormented. It was awful.
My dog eats cicada shells. I've dogs
Oh,
eat a
no.
lot of stuff. Uh, the farm dogs would eat, like, cow hooves, like, when the hoof trimmer would come and, like, shave them
Mhm.
down, they would eat that, and they eat wild stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
frying them up.
frying them up. Yeah.
That's ugh, gross.
And I felt so bad for Isla too, because she had to, like, eat the heart and, like,
Oh, yeah.
train to just not gag and stuff. But also
Mhm.
everyone she knows and loves does it, so maybe, when you, like, are around it all the time, so then you're like, "Ah, it's normal,
Yeah,
no big
yeah.
deal." I feel like this year I've read more books with cannibalism in them than I ever thought I would.
My gosh.
I think this is like the 3rd or 4th book this year that has had cannibalism. That's the hot thing now, I guess,
Oh my gosh, that's
cannibalism.
mm, oh my.
Okay, who was your favorite character?
So,
Okay, you
it's
go,
a very
April.
it is a very difficult question because first of all, I still feel like me and Sam were talking about this. I still feel like this is introductory. Like maybe if she put Lightlark and Nightbane together and made it and trimmed it down and like put them together, it would be a complete whole thing. But I do know that I mean this was just a to me, it was a big world building. So it was Hunger Games Part 1. You're learning the games, you're learning the people, you're learning the politics, you're learning all this stuff, but you're not falling in love with you're not befriending everybody because everyone's betraying each other. So you're getting to know the characters, but you're not like that's my man or that's my girl, even
Mhm.
though Isla and Grimm, you obviously can tell that they're gonna be number 1 and number 2, I mean, they're gonna be the main characters, but still, so I by default, Grimm was my favorite, but
So
Oro also had really good points, even though I hated that he was so flip-floppy, but was he really flip-floppy, or was he just doing his part to get to the end? Like, what so I choose Grimm. Just give up and choose Grimm.
I am pretty notorious for liking the main character. I always feel like authors write them because that's who you're supposed to, like,
Mhm.
bond with, who you're supposed to appreciate. And I was telling April, I think a big reason why I didn't feel connected to these characters either, especially Isla, was because it was all third person, and
Yeah.
typically the books I really enjoy are first person.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's just like the writing style in general. Like April, you said, you really did not learn much about anybody. And normally
Yeah.
you at least learn about like the main character. And
Yeah.
we did, but it still felt like it was surface level.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I'm also gonna say Grim because he at least seemed like we know him. We
Yeah.
like we he is like a smooth talking, shady, loving guy. Like we know this character with Isla. I feel like I want to like her, but I don't understand her. I actually got really frustrated with how dumb she was being. Like, cause other fantasy books, without, like, spoiling it, I feel like typically they're not trained for it. So when she's been trained her whole life with this sole purpose, her decision making and her reactions to stuff drove me freaking nuts. And that's, like, at the end, I'm like, "Did Grimm like, steal all her memories?" Like, cause why is she besides, like, physically fighting. Why can she not stick to a plan? Why can she not think things through? They told her not to drink the wine. She was never allowed to drink wine. And here she's drinking it because she's like, what the heck? Why not? And I'm like, what are you doing?
Have not experienced fairy wine before. You don't drink it.
Well, especially because she was like, when I re-listened to it, it reiterated they're like, they didn't even let her have it. It wasn't like stay away from it. It was like, no, it's not good. And then she's like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna, tomorrow's gonna be whatever. And it's like, you don't think you should think clearly for this?
So on that, because we were talking about how the author was super young when she wrote it. So let's take it from that aspect. Your parents, okay, so my parents, let's just say, just do it from my experience. My parents, no drinking, no drug, no, all my life. I get to high school and I'm like, what's it going to do? It's not going to kill me. So just drink one night. It's not going to be a bad thing. And then, throwing up in the yard. So, it's it is a YA fantasy. So she just was disobedient.
And Isla is young. She's the youngest one. And like I did try to like understand that. There was just sometimes I'm like, girl. And typically I'm used to that because I feel like most main characters do that. But this one I was just like, did you remember anything? Like
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I like your take on it. I agree. LOL. Yes, very surface. I felt like we were teased. I really feel like this was just a little bit of taste of everything, which I'm okay with. Like, but it's just I wanted more. I could if she would have made this 800 pages so that I got the whole thing, I would have been fine with that. I'd base my favorite on who made me feel the most emotion. Grimm for sure, and Celeste for having me fooled. Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah, she frustrated me. Yeah, and I know other people feel that with other fantasy books. But this one, I was like, she talked about like handling so much pain and like like having to do stuff like make decisions while she's in pain and doing all this, and she was just like, whoop, I'm not gonna do that. And I was like, what was the whole point of that? And yeah, that just to me was like, you're not my favorite right now. Okay, I always put this in here because one of my favorite things in books are quotes. I will say this was not I did not think this book was super quotable. Like I really to me, I didn't feel a lot of quotes, but I do have one. It's when I was re-listening to it. So I don't know it word for word. But it was towards the end. It was after Isla had gotten all the powers, and it was like she went back, and it was like she's more she's stronger than she ever was, even like or like not including her powers. And it was something like about like her strength and all that. And it just like to me, I did enjoy that because it was like she learns so much about herself, what she could handle, like the pain, caring about other people when she's never been around men. Well, then we found out she was, but she grew so much as a person that she was strong enough to fight and go up against all of that. So it was something along those lines. I looked and I couldn't find it, and I couldn't remember where it was in the book and on the audio, but I did like that.
Yeah, same thing. Look, I don't know if you can tell. I have a lot of tabs, but they were mainly just like the red ones are about, feelings, and then the pink ones are all just information, and the gray ones are just like what moments. So but one of them that I have here is that remember us, heart, remember it all. You will remember. And when you do, you will come back to me. Like,
Yes.
like, oh my gosh. And so that was awesome. And there's plenty of other ones, but the italics that also confused me because it's like, did she hear? Was he saying it out loud and she overheard him? Is he putting it? But he can, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, I had that because it's not in quotes; it's in italics. It's on page 404.
Yeah, I see that now though too. How
It
some
says,
things to me,
yeah,
I thought like she was like reiterating that, but now we have learned from other things that you have to watch the writing.
yes. So I feel like he put it in her mind because it says Grimm's voice had spoken so clearly. It was as if he was sitting in her room at the edge of her bed. So
Mm,
I feel like there's even more of a connection between the two of them that we don't know yet because it's in italics. Like, why is it in
mhm,
italics? It's like he's in her, like the connection between Farrah and Resand, you know?
mhm.
So something like that.
Um, Mine was the description about Grimm. His hair was like ink across a page. His eyes so dark they seem endless. When his skin touched mine, my bones blossomed. Yes.
Oh,
I love how descriptive she was on that too. I did pick up the first time around of her calling the sun Yoki because I was
oh
like,
yeah,
what a weird way to describe the sun. Um,
yeah,
but I liked how she made everything seem so detailed and descriptive and metaphoric and all of that. Uh, but yeah, when it came to like the sun was like Yolki or whatever, I th to me, okay. Fun fact about me. I won the state judging contest for poultry judging. So, I know how to candle eggs. If you don't know what candling eggs is, that's where you look to see the air and the yolk and everything inside the eggshell. And so, like, when she was describing it as yolky and, like, as, like, the beginning of life and everything, I'm just, like, picturing a freaking chicken and, like,
that's funny. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
that kinda took away from it. But them looking for, like, the heart and everything, I was like, Moana vibes.
Yeah,
Moana vibes, like
yep.
that. But yeah, I do feel like she did a really great job at describing things and like even with um now that you said that CC, there was um I did highlight one the necklace he gave her
Mm,
um holding like a black diamond like a large as a plum and everything like everything she just related to like natural beings and everything and I loved that. um But yeah, to me, there weren't like a lot of like said quotes, I feel
right.
like.
Yeah,
I really just
yeah,
didn't feel like there was a ton of dialogue in general, you know?
right.
It was a lot more just building and shaping the world.
Mhm.
Okay. This is a very specific random not random, but very like I wrote this down because I was like, "I don't know if I'd do this." Um, would you jump
Oh,
into a hole if you couldn't see the bottom of it? When Isla was with, Aro and they jumped into like she's like, "I can't see the bottom," and he's like, what I'll go first, whatever," and he jumps in, and I'm like, I don't think I would be doing that." Like
and she didn't hear anything. She didn't hear him hit ground. She didn't. Ay, ay, ay. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't think I
I don't.
could. I have a
I
fear of
don't think.
heights. I hate the falling feeling. I
Yeah,
don't think I could do it.
I could be pushed, but I don't know if I could physically jump off of it without knowing if there's an end or where I'm going.
Yeah,
So,
it
no.
I just, like I had to write it down because when that happened, I'm like, "Well, I do appreciate that she took that literal leap of faith because I don't think I could."
Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Plain and simple. Nope.
Nope, I would not do it. Yeah, you know, props to Isla for doing that because there's no way. Um, okay. There are a couple twists. There are a couple twists in this.
Yeah.
Which one do you think surprised you guys most? Um, I I think that's what I love about fantasy is like you can't always guess what's gonna happen. Um, but yeah, I was not guessing that Celeste was
Uh,
actually one of the rulers from the get-go and faked her death, pretended to be someone else, and her best friend is the villain.
yep.
I did not have that on my bingo card. So
Nope. Yep. Nope. That was probably the biggest one for me. Other than, I mean, the second, probably the runner up would be, that her and Grimm knew each other before and he wiped her memories. Like those two, never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that that was even a possibility. Now, I read this first, and I actually read this in Goodreads, but I read this book first. No, I can't. I can't because you might read the story. Ooh, there's another book that has the same twist in it that
oh,
shocked me. But luckily, I read this first instead of that one. So, oh my
mhm.
gosh.
Yeah, don't say, but that makes me curious. Also, that's where, like, listening the second time after reading it through, hearing like, I loved Grimm, but then I just did not understand the connection with him
Yeah,
and Isla, and, like, it, like, escalated quickly. And normally,
yeah,
like, that doesn't bother me, but with this, I was like, it just doesn't make sense. And then finding that out, I was like, "Oh my gosh, there has to be more to this." Like their
yeah,
bond has to be stronger. But then you
yeah.
have she has a bond with Aro now. Like
Right, right.
that's like another twist too that I really or I mean that there really were so many twists that not only was Grimm in on this and wiped her memories, but that Tara and Poppy
Right.
had lied to her whole life. Like
Yep, yep.
and killed her parents and
Mhm,
all of this. Like
mhm.
so much.
Yeah,
Um
she definitely went through it. My
yeah.
gosh.
That's why I was like, "You are stronger, girl. You are
Right.
stronger."
Mhm.
Um Celeste, that's when I gasped the hardest. Yeah, and even when Aro told everybody that she was powerless too, I was like, "Whoop,
Yep,
okay." Because he
yep.
didn't nothing happened right away. And so I'm like, sweet. And then he's like, oh yeah, we're switching up partners. Oh yeah, she doesn't have powers.
Right,
Or we're
I'm like,
switching up partners. She doesn't. Yeah.
yeah,
Powerless.
I was like, "That's ridiculous." I screamed at that point. I was like, "Whatever."
That she didn't even need to eat hearts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Celeste broke my heart. I thought they were besties. Yeah. And
I know.
she played like Celeste played a good role. Good
Yeah.
role. Like she was there for her, and I was
Mm,
that's, like, one of my things I was getting frustrated with Isla with. I was like, "You are, like, abandoning your friend. You are not sticking to your mission. You already abandoned your mission with Tara and Poppy. We didn't even know what it was supposed to be until the end. But then now you're abandoning Celeste, and then I'm like, oh well, that apparently you should have, yeah, should have stuck with that.
You deserve it.
She forgave all the abuse of her people, but couldn't forgive a lie from Grimm. Just doesn't seem right. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
I agree. I thought her reaction was overreacting to that
Yep.
instance.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yes, Tara and Poppy were another big gasp. Yeah. Then I was
Mhm.
like, what is true? What is actually
Right.
happening? What?
Yeah. Who do we believe?
Mhm.
Mm,
And that's
yeah.
where, along with, like, when they were talking about, like, "Oh, so and so was supposed to marry this person, and this was supposed to happen, and this was this person," that's when I was like, I am not understanding what's happening at all because it
Mhm.
was a lot of different information. Um,
Yeah.
but going back the second time, I was like, "Okay, makes a little more sense now." But,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just so many twists at the
Mhm.
end too that
Yeah. It
I mean, it was very entertaining.
was like the last 50 pages was just like, what?
April, I told her I had like 60 pages left and she's like, "Buckle up." And I sent her the little Grogu like, "Ah!" like, "Wee!" And we
I'm like,
did.
"Yep,
And I did. It
yep,
was crazy. I was just like, so much happened and I love that. I do love it.
yeah,
And okay, another big twist is that they leave at the very end, which I do love. I love a good like cliffhanger.
yeah,
Um is her crown unlocks
yeah,
the locked door. And I mean, it's not to me it was like a big twist because they just left it at the end and she's like, "Oh yeah, my crown." Clink. And I'm like,
right,
"What?"
yeah, that is so cool.
I had a vibe about Celeste because they kept mentioning how she was such a good friend. Ooh, Ivy, because
Mm,
Ivy, you listen to all those thrillers and all of those fantasies. You're like honing
hold
in on
on.
it. You're like, no, that's sus. Trust no one. I love that. This was one where honestly I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know who to believe. And then I thought Azul might have been bigger, and he really didn't play into this like at all.
Yeah,
Um, because um Isla had overheard Aro and Azul talking about stuff, and so then I'm like, "Ooh, something's gonna happen with him," and nothing really happened with him. So
yeah,
then I was like, "Okay, cool, cool."
right.
Um, what was your favorite part or scene?
The scene that I liked the most was probably when they were looking for, uh, the heart. Like, them walking through the forest and, like, trying to go through all the things, like, just her imagery of of all the gems and all the things, just all the
Mhm.
things that were everywhere. Just I don't know, it was just cool. Have you seen The School for Good and Evil on Netflix?
Mm-mm. I've heard of
That's
it,
like
but I haven't watched it.
that is the aesthetic that I see in my brain. So, because there's the darkness and the light and the good and the evil and blah blah blah. But um, but yeah, there was this one part where they walk through a garden or whatever, and that's kind of what I pictured. So I loved that whole thing.
Mhm.
So if we're talking about part or scene, I mean, I don't have a favorite part.
Yeah. I I don't know, cause like, there were, like, a lot of little things, but there wasn't anything that really stuck out. I guess now looking back and, like, anytime with Grimm, I just feel like it's gonna be, like, one of those things that in the next book, it's gonna be impactful. So even though like it felt like such a minimal thing, even like re-listening to it, it was like the way she described how Grimm would like stare at her, it was like she knew he looked at her like he loved her from like the get-go and all of that. And so like I like that knowing now that
Yeah.
they were together and he had to wipe her memories.
Yeah.
Um Yep, I was just gonna say, oh, the cliffhanger. Yeah, there were so many twists. Like, really, when it like you think about how many there were quite a few, and
Mhm.
probably some that we're still missing because it just felt like it was a lot.
Like
Um,
Oro getting to access her power, but Grimm couldn't. Like
yeah,
very end, that was crazy, you know.
or the fact that it wasn't her having dreams; it was her having memories. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, there's more now that I feel like I sorry, I don't know if you could hear that, Matt is weed whacking, that just scared me.
Funny.
It was like a
No.
rat.
Hmm. That's
Um, Me too, April, it sounded so pretty. Yeah, I when she first talked about, like, going there and, like, the tree growing up through the center, and she was like, "Is this stable?" And I was like,
funny.
"I hope they translate this well into a movie." Um, 'Cause I'm here for it. Or, oh my gosh, okay, I guess, like, another, favorite part of the scene is when she does, drink the wine and she's undoing her dress because it felt like too much, and so she's, like, unraveling it, and it's, like, petals coming off, like, I don't know.
Oh my
I could just see, like, her just being all, like, tipsy and being like, "Hee," like, throwing petals like a little flower girl, but it's her dress, like, I
that's
I
fun.
did think it was funny and, like, cutesy, and I was like, "Yeah, I could totally see you being stressed out, having some wine, and just being like, whoo, this flowers.'"
That's funny.
Oh, yes, the tree. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff, and her talking about, like, the abandoned, like, wildling realm and, like, it being, like, overgrown and everything, and I'm here for it.
Mm.
I didn't mention this yet, but one of the things I would have really appreciated is a map. I really was very confused on where they were and how this like worked out, and I just feel like a map would have helped me visualize, even though most of the time you look at a map and you're like, I confused as heck, but then as you go on, you're like, okay, they're there. I mean, maybe you would have been like, maybe look in this spot because you haven't looked there yet. But I just would have liked a map.
Yeah.
Um, okay. What other books would you recommend for people who liked Lightlark?
Hmm. Hunger Games.
I would say to get like the whimsy vibes with the Hunger Games, I would say Powerless
Oh
by
yeah.
Lauren Roberts. Is it Lauren
Yeah,
Roberts? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
This book. Yeah. I would say
That's
this book.
yep.
Um, what else would I recommend? I could even see like maybe One Dark Window.
Yeah. One Dark Window would be a good one for the vibes.
It just has like
Yeah.
yeah, and like
Mhm.
you have essentially like a curse and like a magic system that you're trying to solve.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
yes, I had to go
Yeah.
look for a fan made map. That is so smart.
Cool.
I get so worried. I have ruined series because I've looked up fan art and any type of stuff like that. And maybe now I'll go look it up. Um I did look up
Yeah,
some
just
fan art too because I was curious on it. Speaking of which, uh, of fan art, one of my biggest things that I was getting thrown off with Aro falling in love with her is I pictured him as a gray, like, older dude. Like, like he looks like he's in his late 40s, early 50s. And that's not the case. And I've talked to a couple people now, and everyone thought the same thing because he's this old ruler, which I
right.
get. We all read the fantasies where they don't age for hundreds and hundreds of years. But I don't know. When she initially described him, I did not pick out like this young, handsome king.
Right,
Like,
right. Well, and the turning things into gold threw me off because then I'm thinking, King Midas. I'm thinking Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time, like
yeah,
still older people.
old, old, yeah, and not super like
Not like
decrepit,
old man, but like
elderly, yeah, but
older.
just like, yeah, like, he's got some gray in his hair, he's got a
40s,
goatee.
50s. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pictured an older guy too. Yeah, and that's it threw me. So that's why I was like, he's in love with her. What?
Yeah.
Seasoned.
Season. Right. That's funny.
Oh, I love it. Will you read Nightbane? And she just announced Sky Shade as it's a third and final book, right?
I think so.
I think it's a
Or at least
trilogy.
yeah. Yep. I'm definitely gonna read them 100%.
I will read Nightbane. I just don't know how quickly. Which that doesn't really mean anything because I'm taking my sweet old time on Throne of Glass
Yeah.
and literally every series. I'm trying to think. I thought I was like, "Oh, I just finished a series." No, I didn't. I'm like,
Four Things probably the fastest series we've read.
yes.
We
Yep.
read those immediately, like once we got them.
Yeah. But with
Everything else
everything
we kind of
else,
because
yeah.
ACOTAR spread out.
That was
Crescent
like
you
just under a year. Yeah, for
Yeah, and then you read the first Crescent City, but not moved on
mm,
to the second, right? And
no, because
then I just
everyone said to read Throne of Glass first. Yeah.
oh, got it. So, yeah. I think Fourth Wing and Iron Flame is the only one that we've, like, read immediately. Everything else we've waited.
Yeah, no, that's yep.
Because Dark Window, we haven't read Two Twisted Crowns.
I have the audio though now. I just got it.
Oh, you do? Oh, nice.
So I have to.
Um,
I have to finish that one. I planned on reading Ashes and the Star-Cursed King last
yeah.
week, but that did not happen. That was literally
Oh,
it was my number 1 book, and then it was my book I didn't read. So
oh,
go figure.
funny.
Um,
And you read Promise of Peridot right after Dawn of Onyx. So,
so I did
but
do that one.
you did
I
that
did.
one, but because that's like me.
So, A Dawn of Onyx was our last book club pick. I love Dawn of Onyx, and the second one, A Promise of Peridot, came out last month or the month before, and I read it.
Mm,
I was disappointed.
I
It
think that's
has
probably
good
why I did that right away
it
because I
has
was getting back.
yeah, it has good ratings on Goodreads, but I don't know, I didn't like it.
And I got into Binding 13, and
Mm.
so, yeah, I was not putting that down, and I'm halfway through keeping whatever, 13. So,
I just have to know what happens, but yes, not quickly. I'm finishing Fourth Wing and want summer reads for camping. That
mm,
makes sense. Mood reader, season reader,
yeah,
I get that. Um, I like savoring series. And I think
Yeah,
that's the only reason, like, with Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, the reason I've read them so quickly is because we are just waiting for her to write the books. All these
right.
other series already have, like, a couple books out, so I'm like, "Yeah, I'll just slow my roll. I don't need to be rushing through."
Yeah.
But I would like to start finishing up at least some of these duologies. It's like there's 2 books. I can get through 2 books.
Right. Right.
Instead, I just, like, have started a gajillion different series.
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't have this, but, uh, I'll add it real quick. It goes along with it, but, like, will you go see the movie or will you watch the movie when it comes out? I will.
Absolutely. I'm a movie buff more than I am a book reader. I mean, I say that, but I can't tell you the last time I watched a movie. Um, that was just by myself. I used to watch movies by myself all the time, but now I'm reading more. But yes, I will go see the movie.
Yeah, I told April, I was like, "I think this will be a case where I like a movie better than I liked the book,"
Mhm.
because as much as, like, she is good at describing those things, I really want to see how the different people dress. I wanna see the costumes, I wanna see the world, I wanna see the castles and the vines and the flowers and the creatures. That's
Mhm.
where, like, sometimes when you have these, like, whole new realms and worlds, it is hard to picture them, and so I can't wait to get into Nightbane and then look at fan art because I do love fan art, and I really appreciate people who can take words and put them to a literal picture. I think that's such a skill, because it's crazy how, like, writers can envision these creatures and, like, like the hive, they were describing, like, those creatures from the hive, and I was like, "What do they look like? I am not understanding this." And then, like, there's, like, they're talking about giant spider silk for, like, the clothes and all this stuff. I'm like, "I don't know what these people look like." So, I would love, love, love to see a movie and the colors, and it does kind of make me think of, like, the Capitol in the Hunger Games where they all
Mhm.
are decked out and they have these bright colors, except I feel like that's almost all these realms
Mhm.
minus, uh, the Nightshade or the Nightbane
Yeah.
area. They're just, like, black and gray, but
Right. I did write down, speaking of, Hunger Games, that Juniper, the barkeep, he
Mhm.
reminded me of Finnick with all his secrets. Like,
We didn't even talk about Juniper. Oh my
I know,
gosh.
I love him.
I
Maybe
know,
he's
I did
my favorite
too.
character. I just saw it in my notes, and I'm like, "Oh, Finnick."
That's such a good comparison. Yeah, I was so bummed, and I was like, okay." Like,
Yeah.
that was rude.
Poor
Um,
Juniper.
Kira said, "Yes, for a bit, I couldn't picture it, then saw some of the fan photos, and it helped me get the images." Yeah, and I had already seen some for, like, Grimm, and I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
Um, and then Wendy, if you're still here, you can't say anything. What do you think will happen in book 2? I just feel like a lot that I got hung up on that I was like, "This doesn't really make sense to me. I'm confused." I feel like a lot more depth will be given and explanations and things will be so much more. And I hope that there is more Grim in Iceland. That is the one thing I wanted so much more in this first book.
Yep, that's what I think. I think we'll get so much more Grim and Isla, and I have no clue where to go from there. Who knows what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know what to expect, like, what the challenges or anything are gonna be. I wanna know what the heck she opens up, and, like,
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's gonna explain more about the creation of Lightlark. It's going to explain more of her powers,
yeah,
um, and how all of that works and what happens now that, like, because not only did she have multiple powers and was born that way, but now she controls all of these powers, like,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to it. Grim will win her back and more details. Yes. I hope there's just
Yeah.
like more depth and character building and relationship building. That was the thing that I felt like I missed out on this first one. Yes,
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Right.
Will she go back to the hive? She promised the bee creature she would.
Ooh.
Ooh, that is true.
Didn't think about that.
My husband's gonna give me a heart attack. He's, like, talking on the phone right outside my window.
My gosh.
That just scared me. Have you guys heard the new TikTok sound where it's, like, listen with headphones and it's, like, knock, 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 and I've heard it, like, 5 times now, and I literally thought someone was in my house, and I about had a heart attack, and so I'm
No.
just extra jumpy now.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
I would not make it as a ruler. I'm too jumpy. Ah, okay, well, that was pretty much all the questions. I guess we can go back. Out of 5 stars, what is your rating? If you guys have changed it or not, I still think I'm at 3.5, but I could see it going up to a 4 if we get a lot of that stuff explained in
Yeah.
Nightbane, and then I could go back and be like, "Oh my gosh, there was that, that, that." If that happens, I will definitely be, like, bumping it up, but I still think for what I have and know right now, it's a 3.5 for me.
Yeah. I would say that my stars came down, but I was just enjoying it. So I was, you know, I was there for the ride. I love the world. So it's gonna stay at a 5 for me.
Yeah, and that's what I like, that's how I am too. Even if I have, like, flaws with the book and I
Right.
realize, like, plot holes or something, if I enjoyed it and I love it, then I'm not gonna change my rating for that.
Right.
Like, we don't need to ruin our thoughts and feelings because of others or things that we've realized. Like, if you still like it,
Yeah.
you still like it, and that's all that
'Cause
matters.
it's like, oh yeah, there was a whole lot of unanswered questions, but I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't think of them. I was
You're
like,
like,
okay,
"This
I
is a
just
grand
accepted
old time."
it too.
We were joking, before we got on. It was like we both drank the wine, and April was like, "Isa, like, woo, I'm having a good old time," and I'm like, "What is happening?"
I just
I was having a bad trip, and
fun.
April was having a great trip.
I had a great time.
I would probably say 3.5 rather than 4 now that I'm really thinking about it. No! That wasn't our point. No, I get it. That's where April's like, "Let me know," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't wanna crush your
I'm
soul."
not gonna say anything.
I just
So
I get hung up on so many things unless I can just there's some books that I just keep reading and I'm like, "I don't know," but it makes sense, and this one, I was like, "I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I feel like Isla, someone wipe my memories. I'm missing something here." Like, but I am hoping it was done intentionally because there are some big things gonna happen, so I hope that we get that with Nightbane and you all enjoy it, and then when the third one comes out, that one is even better. But with that being said, we have 4 choices for the month of July.
Yeah.
I will be doing a poll on our Instagram stories probably tomorrow because I want to do a little synopsis for everything's for each book, and I just didn't have time to do it today. Um I'll probably also try to do a poll in Discord. Um I don't know how to do that yet, but I know it's possible. That might be April.
I figured it
Um,
out.
but yeah, if you guys wanna vote, that, whichever one wins is what we will be reading in July, so if there's one you really want, I mean, if you vote in multiple places, maybe we'll count it multiple times.
Yeah.
But so if you guys don't know, our main hub for all of our information for our book club is Tales of Starlight Book Club on Instagram. That's where we post like all the updates, all the information, everything in there. The link to the Discord is on there. So, that's where we'll announce everything. I'm trying to do it on all platforms, just sometimes it's hard to do because, I decide to have so many platforms. Um, but with that, our July options are ink. Oop, hang on, let me get rid of the ticker. Um, it's Ink Blood Sister Scribe. I actually have this book by Emma Tors is one option. The other option is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. The third option is Heaven Breaker by Sarah Wolf. I also have this one. Just because I have them doesn't mean I'm biased. They just are ones that I already have. I would own all of them if money was not a
Mhm.
concept. And Mortal Queens by Victoria McCombs. So I will put a poll up and I'll have a small synopsis, maybe like the Goodreads review or like rating, um, or like some main topics. And then you guys can vote what our July pick will be. And then once we pick that, we'll let you guys know. We'll let you know what it's available on. Um, and hopefully you'll be able to join us for July. So
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate the participation. It makes it so much more fun. And then if ever in the future months you have a book you want to read, we'll probably do more like picks like this more often. So if you guys have it on there, be active. We'll put up polls and stuff and ask for what you want. Yeah, and we just appreciate the participation. Thank you, Cece, for being here. Thank you guys all. We'll be seeing you around soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.